All right, hello. So this is our review team demo 2.0, and we have like a lot of progress right now. The first thing is we are redesign our front end. So our original version demo is use the AI generated UI, but right now we changed the AI to our custom design interface by our really good UI designer and implement by our front end team. And we also building up our backend stuff too. So we are building our core engine to handle complex business rules such as like coupon implement or go to the profile, find a restaurant, and high concurrency scenario with better performance. We also design and implement our database with really optimization the database. So we are designing a schema for better data integrity and use really faster, quiet performance and support complex relational logic also for the future enhancement. And for our demo one, we just have the internal testing, like really few tests. But for demo two, we also have like thousands stress testing for our apps or webs. So let's talk about the backend first. After we get a survey from the survey team, we first find the three problems. First one, our location is for demo 1.0 is only for the for whole LA metropolitan. However, we need focus to the USC as we see the data. So we found a 73.9 user is prioritized the nearby location. We implement distance-based sorting for USC area restaurant, like 1 mile close to USC, 5 mile or 10 miles. Second, we found like we have a lot of street small business, especially the street food stuff. So we create a street food priority button based off of our user interest. And right now, as you can see, we have a lot of street food truck close to USC, like Chinese food or taco. So I believe our user will like this function too. We also found that the students really care about the price. So we also create about like the value focus. We refine our coupon logic, use really focused and straightforward in our merchant. So the user can just click the merchant to find the combo they like. So let's see you can see our homepage is pretty straightforward and simple and clear. After you click, we have the 4 button, top rate nearby, and open now street food. Okay, for next, as I said before, we redesign our front end part. The left part is demo one in our demo 1.0 is designed by like AI stuff. Even it's really high efficiency, but it's a lot like lack of brand identity and beauty. So in the demo 2.0, we first wrap for some big company for design pattern. And right now, as you can see, our UI design in front end is with brand consistent color, clear merchant portals, and optimized UX.
So in the next part, I'm going to introduce review front-end and back-end architecture from three perspectives: modularity, scalability, and security. Before I start, I want to clarify that the three concepts are not the same things. Modularity is about how the system is constructed. Scalability is about whether the system can continue to grow as the business expands. Security is about how the system protects identities, APIs, and sensitive data. RevieU mailing consists of two projects: the front-end project, RevieU Web, and the back-end project, RevieU Backend. So in the next few minutes, I'll explain the three aspects based on the actual code structure of both projects instead of only taking about abstract theory. Let's start with modularity. Modularity focuses on whether responsibilities inside the system are clearly separated, and whether the codebase is easy to understand and maintain. On the front-end side, RevieU Web uses a feature-based architecture. We can see that business capability are grouped into modules such as auth, customer, and merchant. At the same time, shared capabilities like API access, global state, and routing are separated into common layers. This means the front end is not organized as a random collection of pages. Instead, it is organized around clear functional boundaries. That is a strong example of separation of concerns. We can also say this clearly in the routing structures. We grouped different functions like discover, explore, home pages, and profile, reviews, shared, and vouchers under the custom folders. Merchant pages are grouped under merchant layout, and authentication pages are separated from both of them, and it's located here because it's a shared component, shared function of our front end. Now, let's look at the backend. The backend is also highly module. is highly modular, but in a different way. Instead of organizing everything around one large controller or one giant routing file, RevieU backend is divided by domain. For example, there are separate domains for auth, review, merchant, payment, voucher, and other business capabilities. These domains are then registered centrally in the router. This shows that the backend is organized around the business responsibility, not just around isolated endpoints. Inside each backend domain, the code is also layered. For example, in the review module, root expose the endpoints, handlers process HTTP requests and response, and the service contains actual business logic. If we look at the review creation flow, the service layer handles important domain rules, such as validating the relationship between merchants and stores before saving the review. This is a good example of layered design. So, for modularity, the two main takeaways are: first, the system is divided into clear business modules. Second, each module is internally split by responsibility. So, when I talk about modularity, I'm not saying the system can handle more traffic because of it. What I'm saying is that the system is easier to maintain, easier to extend cleanly, and easier for multiple developers to work on without interfering with each other. Next is scalability. Scalability is about whether the system can continue to support growth when there are more users, more features, more files, or more data. A good example on the front end is the media upload flow. Instead of sending large files through the application server first, the front end requests a present URL and uploads the file directly to object storage. In our front end, we use Cloudflare R2 as our object storage. This is an important architectural decision because it reduces the load on the core backend service as usage grows. On the backend side, scalability is also reflected in how the system handles data growth. For example, after a review is created, the system updates aggregated fields such as review count and average rating for merchants and stores. This means later queries do not always need to recalculate expensive statistics from scratch. This is a performance consideration designed for scale. It shows that the architecture is not only focused on implementing features, but also on making sure the system remains efficient as data volume increases. Scalability is also visible at the engineering and development level. The backend uses explicit database aggregation rather than relying entirely on runtime auto-aggregation. It also includes deployment-related structures such as containerization, Kubernetes, and Argo CD. This tells us that the project is designed not only to work locally, but also to support future growth in environments, development workflows, and operational complexity. Finally, let's talk about the security. Security focuses on how the system prevents unauthorized access, protects credentials, and reduces the risk of misuse or attacks. In the backend, protected endpoints use JWT-based authentication middleware. Each request is checked for an authorization header, verified to be in beer format, and then the token is validated. If the token is missing, invalid, or expired, the request is rejected immediately. This is the system's basic authentication mechanism. Security also applies to how credentials are stored and managed. For example, refresh tokens are not stored in plain text. Instead, they are hashed before being persisted. That means even if the database were exposed, the original token values could not be directly available. This is an example of a secure coding practice, because it reduces the damage that could be caused by credential leakage. The same applies to passwords. User passwords are not stored as plain text too. They are hashed using bcrypt. This is a standard but very important part of the backend security, because it produces user credential even if the system is compromised. Security is not only about runtime authentication, it also includes engineering workflow protection. In this project, sensitive configuration is handled through encrypted secrets and Git hooks. So unencrypted secrets are not supported to be committed directly into the repository. This shows that the project also considers real-world threats. such as configuration leakage and insecure development practices. To summarize, modularity is about how the system is constructed, scalability is about how the system continues to grow, security is about how the system protects identities, APIs, and sensitive data. Based on actual implementation in RevieU, both the front end and back end already show clear architectural thinking in these three areas. In other words, the project is not only functional, but also designed with maintainability, future growth, and baseline security in mind.
All right, thank you for my tech lead Weijun. It's really, really good introduce for our core of our project. So let's just test our webs. So as a student, you will app launch and sign up, also with the sign up email and onboarding location setup. So let's go to our UI page. So right now you already have the username, email, and password. So we go to register. Okay, so your account has been created successfully, and then we also have you are saving it, find the email in the uh Weijun's in his personal email. Right now you already can see it's sent by a review company. Okay, you are about to open it on the browser, tap to read it and confirm. So you already have successful verified. Right now it's still the blank page. So after he signed in, he will go to the find a close restaurant next to USC. Then he go to nearby, and we have like right now we have 7 places next to 7 restaurants and next to USC in total. So if within 1 mile, just like we have one restaurant, and if we have 3 miles, there'll be like 3 restaurants in here. Also like 7 restaurants total if you click the 10 miles. So the Wayne just finished his searching. Sorry, sign up and searching. So the second scenario is we have a name called Lee. He will log in his account and go to Kava USC, select his preferred combo, and read the restaurant review before he decides to visit. So let's just go to the. All right, let's just verify. Okay, by Google. So Lee is already in his page, and he will go to the Kava USC and find the review first. Okay, he see the review is 4.5. It's really good restaurant in here. And right now he go to find his combo, his preferred combo. As you can see, we have the flash deal in here, and we have timer in here. If you like the salmon super salad, you get a QR code and copy or you can scan directly or copy the code to your wallet. But I think Lee just like the veg mix because he's a vegetarian, and it's a $14, and he can scan to go to the merchant to let the merchant to scan the QR code and redeem. That's it. Thank you for visit this video.